Well, if I described like everything that makes the dance form what it is, I would say captivating, because all the different aspects of it, the eye movements, the hand movements, the footwork, everything like kind of comes together to make it a very like captivating experience for the audience that watches it.
For 46 years, Dances of India has been captivating audiences around the St. Louis community. But if you're like me, you didn't even know we had a classical Indian dance company. After all, the Midwest isn't typically known for this intricate dance style with ornate costumes set to interpret ancient Eastern folklore. But that's exactly why the Prem family started what is now one of the oldest classical Indian dance companies in the country.
I started dancing at the age of 5 when I was in India.
Asha Prem immigrated from India to St. Louis in 1976, as her late husband, who went by Dr. Prem, was a research scientist at Washington University. It didn't take them long to realize that not only was St. Louis lacking Indian dance companies, most people didn't even know what it was.
Because they would think it is Native American art or Bollywood, not even Bollywood, it was not there at that time. It was belly dancing. So I just wanted to change that image. So my husband and myself, we started a dance school and named it as Dances of India, because no one would understand if I just called it by an Indian name.
The Indian name being Bharatanatyam, which is the classical form. And it is important to acknowledge the various styles of Indian dance, but the Prem's main objective was just to raise awareness. A major help in bridging the gap between Eastern and Western cultures was through Asha's very first student, Tekla Mehta, who was a Midwesterner but married a man from India.
I want to tell you how amazing it was for me as a little Midwestern girl to learn about these dances, to wrap yourself in silk, put jewels everywhere, makeup, and then dance these stories where you're the consort of gods. You know, how incredible is that? You know, and that's, you know, you just leave yourself, you leave reality, and you jump into these wonderful, fanciful stories. And maybe that was originally the pull, I don't know.
Tekla began designing the costumes and set pieces, in addition to dancing herself along with her 3 daughters. And then eventually she started choreographing and writing the performances alongside Asha's daughter, Nartan Prem.
So, you know, the thing is, I started so young. I was 5 years old when I started dancing. I started learning dance. So I don't even remember, you know, I don't think I had much of an option whether or not to do it. I think that's something I was going to do. But I never in my wildest dreams thought I would pour any energy into it, you know, after I graduated from high school. That was my last thing on my mind.
But as Nartana is a professional writer, she started helping her family write grants for the dance company. And so when her father passed in 2014, it was kind of a natural transition for her to take over those duties.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So we have lots of dancers waiting to dance for you too. And let me tell you first that classical Indian dance is the kind we do. It's called Bharatanatyam. And this has its origins.
This performance at Intersect Arts Center was for a night of India that included various aspects of Indian culture. The dance company performs year-round for more educational programs, like at schools, libraries, nursing homes. But their main annual performance is around Diwali, the biggest Indian holiday. For the first half of the program, Asha's students demonstrate their skills in classical Indian dance, and the second half is when Nartan and Tekla get to showcase a more experimental type of dance drama through their original scripted stories.
I'm so glad to see you all.
These dramas are fully narrated so that the Western audience understands the nuances of what's going on in these stories. A lot of the Indian stories are very complex. And so you don't have to know those stories because we're going to tell it to you, and we're going to tell it to you in dance and drama.
One day, Agni, god of fire and self-pity, you'll see why I say self-pity soon, was wandering through the universe alone.
I was in the car listening to classical music and I heard Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue, and I love that piece. So I thought, why not do a Rhapsody for the Blue Gods? So there are a couple of deities in Hinduism which have like blue skin, that they're shown as having blue skin. So I don't know what people would think, we had no idea, but people really loved it.
Since then, they've combined other Eastern and Western ideas, such as Cinderella and even the Nutcracker, with the original musical composition, but choreographed with Indian dance. And this melding of cultures was very intentional to ensure audiences were engaged enough to gain an understanding of Indian culture.
To show that level of nuanced expression is not something you do in ballet or in other Western styles of dance. So, but that reveals a lot about the culture, that emotion, the stories, you know, how important the legends are. And dance brings them to life in a way that's very immediate. You know, and I was thinking about this too, like in social media now or TikTok, people love watching other people dance. Maybe that's what makes it so special, is that it is something that is just very primal in many ways. It's just your body and ideally your heart, your mind, your spirit all together. And there's something very magical about it. It's a neat way to transmit your culture.
For Living St. Louis, I'm Brooke Butler.